Hi and welcome to today's webinar. Today I want to talk to you about our Portchester range of shutters. They look like ordinary shutters. They work slightly differently. They are, well look, Portchester for a start, if you didn't know, when we named the products, so we've got our other ranges, Antigua, Bermuda, Cuba, Fiji, Java, tropical island destinations. There's no tropical island that says security. So we went local. Portchester is the name of the fort that overlooks the Solent. And we're down here in sunny Hampshire, so we thought that was a really good name. So Portchester is our name for a security shutter. It still works like an ordinary shutter does. It has louvers. The benefit with Portchester is the louvers can dress up or dress down equally well on a shutter. We can do full height. We can do tier on tier, but there's a really limiting factor. If you do tier on tier in Portchester, you can only do left right. But this is about a shutter that is going to stay locked most of the time. So it's architectural grade aluminium. It's powder coated in 4 very popular colours: prime white, satin white, light grey and charcoal. I've got the light grey one here. We'll have a look at the other colours later on. As ever, if you've got any questions, pop them into the chat box, and when we go live at the end of this session, we'll do our very best to answer those questions. So, Portchester, what job does it do? It offers your customer a secure, safe window covering. So the panels lock in place. We utilise a Euro cylinder, and 2 turns of the key will shoot a bolt up and down 20 millimeters into the very strong frame. So here's my first recommendation for Portchester. You have to do it in a 4-sided frame, because to get those bolts to lock down and lock up, they need to go into the frame. There is 2 choices of frame if you're doing the hinged option. It's an L frame and a Z frame. You can do sill plate, so you can have the lip removed like you would ordinarily in ordinary shutters. But some of the differences here, this frame has to be really strong and really secure. So what we have to do with the frame when we first unpack it is the frame is riveted together. So that means the frame has to be made up as a complete unit and then put into the window. So if you think on the survey, I need to make the frame up in the window because the reveals are narrower at the front than at the back, then the L frame isn't probably the right solution. With Portchester, we use a lot of Z frames, and the Z frame sits on the edge of the recess. It works really well. You can get a really secure fixing. The frame comes with a removable insert to hide your fixing screws or bolts, because this frame does have to be really securely fitted. Again, if you come down for training, if you see a sample, we can show you how to fit it. You can work it out for yourselves maybe. The survey needs to be, you need to know what you're fixing into. So we don't want any surprises during installation. While we're talking about installation, it's a 2-man job, because what we need to do is make the frame up first. So riveting it together. You will need to buy yourself a rivet gun. There are all sorts available on the market. I've got a really good Stanley one. I think it cost me 30 quid from Screwfix. When you rivet the frames together, one person needs to hold the frame securely together, and the other person does the workout and does the riveting. When we put the panels into the frame, there's no drop-in pins because that wouldn't be secure. So one person is going to put the screws in, the other person is going to hold the panel so that you can put the screws in. This one over my shoulder is on a Z frame, so that means that the hinges will be attached to the panel and then you'll be able to put the screws into the frame. If you're doing it inside the recess, it would need to be the other way around. But you need to tell us whether the shutters, when you place the order, are going inside or outside the recess, so that we can get those hinge screws going the right way. So, look, we're offering a security product. I'd love to say that it's insurance approved, but it's not. We could get insurance approval for it, but that would mean that we would have to do all the work. You wouldn't be involved. So that's not who we are. We're a distributor. So unfortunately, this product isn't currently insurance approved, but we're adding a layer of, it's a feeling, it's a secure, safe feeling in a great looking shutter. The pricing is slightly different to what you're used to. So this is priced up per panel. So you can on Portal, once you've done the training and you're an accredited Portchester dealer, you can put the width and the height into the Portal and it will work out the price. If you're working it out from our price list, then what you'll do is you'll work out your width and your height. So then you'll work out how many panels you will need, because the pricing is per panel. We had a sample here where we had a panel that was 1 metre high and 400 millimetres wide, and at full trade, before any discount was applied, that panel would cost £333. The good news is with Portchester, there is only one surcharge, and that surcharge is for custom colour. So we do the 4 standard colours. Like I said, it's a test, right? Prime white, satin white, light grey and charcoal. Those colours almost exactly match what you're used to as pure white, silk white, sea mist and clay. Just be careful with the grey finishes, because they are textured. They're not the smooth finish that you might be expecting. If you're not sure about anything with Portchester, then please do reach out to our customer support team. You can also speak to your BDM. They may have a sample case, or you can come down for the training. Or what you could do is come to the BBSA show, where we will have some Portchester on display. And as we all know, the BBSA show coming to you at the end of October at the Coventry City Football Ground Arena. So let's get into the detail. We have silent tilt rod as standard. There is no visible tilt rod option. We have locks as standard. The locks can be single-sided, so they're only viewed from inside the room. My personal favourite is to have a double-sided lock, so that's visible from outside. Really good deterrent value. You can choose, if you're doing multiple shutters in the consumer's house, you can choose that the locks are all the same, so that one key will open every shutter, or you can choose to have different keys for different rooms. If you do the first option, which is called mastered, which is kind of what most people pick, you don't just get one key for the whole job. You will get one key per lock. You also get a very nice little S-Craft key ring as well. The details are that 89mm louvers is your only option. Also, top and bottom rails. You're really used to getting rail charts and having multiple size rails, because they're made to measure from Neon Made. Portchester is slightly different. The top rail is a standard rail and the bottom rail is adjustable. Now, it's not adjustable for you or I, it's adjustable for the factory. It's a male and a female rail, so they can extend it before they secure it. But again, if you want a rail chart, they can absolutely produce a rail chart to say how big the top will be, how big the bottom will be, how many louvers there'll be. Mid rails are available as well. So if the panel height exceeds a certain distance, I think that's 1900 millimeters. If the panel height exceeds that distance, then you have to put a mid rail in. The mid rail is, as ever, measured from the bottom up to the centre of where you would like the mid rail to be. Also, split tilt is very common. We've got that in this one here. Split tilt is called split gear for Portchester. So there are some slightly different terminologies. So split gear is one of the biggest ones that people don't understand. So split gear again is done from wherever you've measured you're taking your measurement from the bottom, that'll be to the centre of the split. What else have we got? We can do T-posts. So you can do LT, LR, TR, really popular configuration. The T-posts are not adjustable like you would expect from Near Made. They are bolted down through the top and up through the bottom, and they are set up in the factory to be in the right place. The panel gaps that you're used to with Near Made, I've got one here, panel gaps 2mm all the way around. With Portchester, the panel gaps are bigger because it's aluminium, so it's a little, we need a bigger tolerance, yeah? So the panel gaps are between 4 and 5mm. So again, it's not a suitable scenario for making the room completely dark. This is a security shutter first and foremost. So we've got the locks, we've got the louvers, we've talked about the frames. Let's just talk about these styles. Because what makes Portchester really strong is the fact that the styles are completely encased in an outer sleeve. So the style is actually buried away inside here, and the style houses the silent gear mechanism. What we're used to with Near Made shutters is that mechanism is in a groove within the shutter style, and it's got a tension screw for every bank of louvers. There's no tension screws on Portchester. Each louver is a tension louver. So each louver is bolted through, and I'll give you a demonstration of how strong and secure that is later on. It does mean that if you needed to change a louver, it's not a thing. They don't get damaged. If they get damaged, you have to replace the panel. To change a louver, you have to take the whole shutter completely to pieces. A shutter like this, that's going to take you about 2.5 hours. The good news is we've never had a broken louver in transit because the louvers are so strong. Would I do that or kick it, as some people have seen me do, on a Near Made shutter? No, you wouldn't. The louvers are really strong. They close up and close down. They are available as a hinged shutter. They're also available as a tracked shutter. We do bifold or bypass. Word of warning, bypass shutters going that way are not secure, and we would not recommend them. We thoroughly recommend doing the bifold track. You can do as many lefts and as many rights as you like, but as always, remember to keep those panels even. So we're going to drill into the dealer bag that is also available to you. So you get that free if you come on the training course. The training course prices are on Portal, as are all the dates for Portchester training. And again, guys, keep those messages, keep those questions coming into the chat box. We're going to go and have a look in the dealer bag. So here we are in the training suite. If you need to come down for some training, or if you'd like to come down for some training, the training is available to book via the book training tab in the technical area on our portal. So let's look at the dealer bag. That's why we come in here for. The dealer bag has a sample panel, like so. So you can show your customer the strength, the beauty, and you can show them the locking mechanism. You can also show them the fine S-Craft keyring and the keys. So you can show them how the panel locks. Let's have a look inside. We've got made up sections. So there's the made up section of the Z frame. There's the made up section of the L frame. These are really handy little things for you to use at the survey as well, to physically put these into the window to see how far away from window handles or protrusions you need to be, or if the Z frame is going to be a better choice for you. My piece of the Z frame, I've removed the cover strip so that you can see that the fixing screws or bolts would go into here, and then you clip that back in. You need to come for training to see how to clip those in, because they can be tricky. Short ones first. Also, we have the made up section of the track frame. You can see from the track frame, the metal, the thickness of the frame is much bigger because, you know, track shutters are bigger and heavier. So we beefed up the frame. What you might also be intrigued to see is we do a Z track frame. So this is a track frame to go inside the recess, right on the edge of the recess, that the lip would cover the gap. So you would still need to pack it, but you can do that from the back, and then you can bolt up through here. The wheels would run along in here. So nice and sturdy. This frame also can go outside the recess. So that's the profile as it would sit outside the recess. Obviously these pieces would be continuous and mitered all the way around. The only thing I'm going to say about outside mount is this is where you would fix back to the wall. So you would need to plan that. You would need to we supply some fixings, but you would probably need to source your own fixings for there. And you would need to make that look pretty. So you would need to cover the bolt heads up with something. Using the overlap frame as a Z frame, in my opinion, is a much better idea. We also have a piece of the standard top frame. So that's it made up as a right angled section. That's it on its own. We also give you examples of the recess bottom frame, the M track, and the U track. If it's a track system, it has to have one of these. You wouldn't be surprised to know that the M profile is the most popular choice, but you will be quite surprised to see how tall it is. Because again, I said earlier that the locking bolts, when you turn the key twice to get the maximum throw on the bolts to lock the paddle in place, that locking bar is 20 millimeters long. So there needs to be enough space for that locking bar to go into. Is that a trip hazard? Yes, it is. Maybe you would decide to use the recess track, but you would need to recess this into the floor. With any recess track, but especially with Portchester, the overall height measurement is not from the finished floor, it's from the underside of the track. And again, if you're not sure, speak to technical support, have a look on Portal. Once you're a Portchester approved or accredited dealer, the specifications will become available to you, as will the ability to order Portchester. If you've ever looked on Portal and seen all of our materials, there's a space at the end. Once you're a Portchester approved dealer, Portchester will appear in that box at the end. The ordering system, some of the terminology for Portchester is slightly different, and that's why it's really important to come down for the training. It is only half a day, and the price of the training for the first delegate includes the dealer bag. That's why it's so expensive, because the dealer bag is included in the price. If you're interested in doing some Portchester training, speak to your BDM, Business Development Manager, or speak to me directly. The best way to get me is on the email address training@s-craft.co.uk. So we're nearly ready to go to the live session now to answer some of these questions that are appearing in the chat box, I'm sure. But what I want to do is give you a practical demonstration of how strong Portchester actually is. So we're going to go to a third location to showcase that for you. So here we are in front of my Portchester track shutter. This was our stand in the 2018 BBSA show, and we've still got them here. They still look really good. They still work like ordinary shutters do. So split gear, mid rails, in a track that could be, there's 8 panels here. So we've done this as 4 lefts and 4 rights. You could do them all one way or all the other. You could split it up how you like within that standard track frame. I said earlier on, the louvers are bolted through, each one through that buried style. So let me show you how strong that can be. I would not do this demonstration on any other plantation shutter that we currently sell. Wow. Also, I would not do this demonstration on any other shutter than a Portchester shutter. Can I just say, if you need a ladder, buy a ladder. I'm stood on the louvers, guys. So, we're now going to go live to the Q&A session. And as ever, thank you for taking the time to watch today.